Yep.
When the seas turn into blood and the land becomes as sludge, when the locusts eat up all the moon and eliminate the sun, somewhere out there Walt's looking down and smiling with glee. Come listen to it this week. It's Disney BC.
Actually, it's Disney AD. Welcome back to Disney AD, your source for Disney history.
That's right, the freshest new takes on the freshest old things that happened in Disney World, USA. My name is your host, Joshua Bors.
And my name is your other host, Jake Bors.
Yeah, so we're just here in the studio today, just hanging out, just kind of shooting the breeze and talking about our favorite Disney history moments.
Yep, that's right.
I'm sorry it's been so long since our last update. It's been approximately more than a year, I'd say.
Yeah, I think. Roughly.
Yeah.
But it's not entirely our fault, you know. I mean, the crow clouds have been really bad recently.
Crow clouds, can't even hardly see outside. It's like pea soup out there.
It's just...
Except, like, black.
Except black and crows.
And crows.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yep.
You know, the crows flew in. The crows actually flew in and, like, stole all of our continuity.
Yeah, I know. It's really weird.
Yeah, it's crazy. There's going to be no continuity from last episode.
Zero.
Because the crows came, and that's all we have to say about that.
Yep. All right, what's our topic for this week?
Our topic for this week, you know, as Disney parks reopen, they're not going to be quite the same as what we remembered as young Josh and Jake Bors going to the park.
Well, the continuity changed.
Well, the continuity changed, but of course, our favorite part of Disney World Animal Kingdom was shut down. Finding Spleeno, the musical.
Pour one out for Finding Spleeno.
Pour one out for Finding Spleeno, the musical. You know, I'm gonna miss it a lot.
Oh, me too.
The heartwarming story of a man and his spleen separated at birth.
Yep.
And the harrowing quest to reconnect with the man's own spleen.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'll tell you, the "That's My Spleen" reprise, that gets me every time.
That gets me every time. It's not a real favorite, but that's my spleen. I knew all along. Underneath it will digest my songs.
So beautiful. I can't even sing through that.
It's wonderful. It's very meta because like the spleen is digesting the songs as the songs are being sung.
And that's what connects them. That's how he ends up finding his spleen in the end.
Yeah.
Is because it digests all his songs and there was a connection formed in the song.
Many twists and turns that echo the twists and turns of the human spleen that it probably has.
Yep. Full of them. Full of them twists and turns. But, so, it's very sad that it's changing, but we're here to reminisce and we're going to have a great time. So we all know that "That's My Spleen" reprise makes everyone cry every time. But I would like to ask Josh what your favorite song of Finding Spleeno was.
Well, I mean that's a pretty tall order to have to pick. "We Spleen Together," of course, is always an audience favorite. A lot of applause. In the Big Blue Body, of course.
Very good one. Yes.
Because as we all know, the main character, John Broseph.
Yep. John Broseph. He was a member of the Blue Man Group, I believe.
Was a member of the Blue Man Group, and was quite bloated. So hence the song "In the Big Blue
Body."
In the Big Blue Body, which is what he had.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, your favorite, which is
yes.
Go with the flow of the digestive system,
yep.
Boys and girls.
Yep. It's got a nice ring to it, you know? Go with the flow
Just
of the digestive
system. Just go with the flow of the digestive system. Boys and girls, go with the flow of the digestive system. Boys and girls. Because as we all know, the spleen is probably part of the digestive system.
Yep. Yeah, I don't use it for anything other than digesting, so
yes.
I would assume.
Well, of course, I mean, since the mandatory Spleen Digestion Act of
05.
A lot of things happened in 05. It was a busy year.
Yeah, very busy year.
But I mean, Spleens got to pick up the slack for all the digesting.
Yep. So, you know.
I'll never get used to it. Like, instead of putting food in your mouth, you have to put it in your spleen pocket.
Yep.
And then just what happens. Que sera, sera, you know? Que spleen,
Que spleena, as the kids say.
As the kids say.
No, yeah, I've always found it very hard since that, because, you know, my mouth misses food.
The mouth misses food.
The mouth misses food, you know, and you just, I mean, shoving it in your spleen. It just kind of feels really weird. It's like a weird tingly sensation when you're like shoving a corn cob up in the spleen pocket.
Yes. Yes, a bit obstructive to the entire digestive system when you shove an entire corn cob down the spleen pocket.
Yeah, and you know, since normally when we used to eat with our mouths, you know, we wouldn't eat the bones and stuff, but now like we just kind of drumstick.
Yeah,
you know,
just shove it in there. The spleen can
and
handle
I feel
it.
like the spleen can handle it, but I feel like it's hard on the digestive system
to
digest all those bones, you know?
There's a bit of a burning sensation that goes on when you shove an entire drumstick down your spleen pocket into your spleen to, you know, hopefully get digested. Yeah,
and just, I don't know. I've seen a lot of reports from, like, old folks' homes that, like, they're having lots of problems with their digestive tracts, and I can't help but worry that it's because we're just shoving chicken bones in our spleen pockets.
Well, the elderly do enjoy much blander food, and that's probably why, because of less of a sensation in your spleen pocket, less of a burning sensation.
True. Yeah,
I sure can understand that. As you're elderly, you do begin to lose your sense of taste, and sense the mandatory grafting of taste buds into the spleen pocket, so it can serve as an all-in-one digestive repository.
Well,
I mean, it's much more efficient, honestly.
Yeah.
When you get your allotted like food packet, and you can just put it right into your spleen pocket, and it does all the digesting at once.
Yep.
The saliva, the taste, the burning, the sucking it down into the bloodstream, and you know the expulsion of waste all happen in a fraction of a second.
Yep.
And that just gets you up, gets you going, you have more time to spend listening to your podcasts.
Oh yeah.
Or with your loved ones.
Or your government assigned parents.
Your government assigned parents, yes.
Now I know. I mean, I did know before the mandatory Taste Bud Act. Before we had taste buds, it did cut down on stress eating because you couldn't taste it when you were shoving it in your spleen pocket. It was just like the joy of eating was gone.
The joy of eating was gone. There were a lot of people just stopped eating at that point because I mean I guess they didn't see a point to it because like you can't taste. It's just it's all spleen. It's all spleen now, baby.
That's why I voted for putting the taste buds in the spleen pocket to bring joy back to my life.
Yeah, I actually voted for putting the spleens in the hands. Not only because I'm a big fan of, not the spleens. I got to be clear here. I've misspoken. I've been pouring old fashions directly into my spleen pocket, which might not make a lot of sense.
No, I have
probably
too.
The ice.
Just gotta wait for the ice to melt. You'll get there.
I voted for grafting the taste buds onto the hands, not only because I'm a big fan of flies, because of...
I'm sorry, flies?
Flies, because flies can taste with their hands.
Oh,
we know
right,
this.
Of course.
This is a fact.
This is a fact.
This is a fact across all the worlds.
Yep, every world.
That's the one constant in every world.
Is that flies taste with their hands.
Flies taste with their hands.
Yep, I knew that. I was playing dumb.
Yes, wow, good. That's good podcasting form.
Yep, that's right. I play the part of the clueless audience.
So not only can you taste as you're bringing it to the spleen pocket, but you can taste everything you touch, which is a way to really just get in touch with your environment.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
it is. Although, I mean, a lot of people have to touch gross things.
That's true. Wiping would have been a problem.
A big problem, because that's what you already just got to stick your hand in there and then wash it really well.
So I guess instead of talking about finding Spleeno the musical, which is what I thought we'd be doing, we can tackle the age-old unsolved question of how do flies wipe?
How do flies wipe? I've always wondered this. Yeah, so as you know, flies taste with their hands. So clearly they wouldn't want to wipe with their hands because that would taste horrible.
Yes.
So I've come up with a few suggestions as to what flies could use to wipe with.
I'm at bated breath.
All right, I want your comments on these, so we'll go one at a time. The first is the handy dandy cherry flavored wiping stick, and that of course is a stick that has a bit of like absorbent stuff on the tip, and the handle is cherry flavored. So when you grab it, it tastes nice, and then you can just shove it right in there and jiggle it around.
I'm extremely uncomfortable with the direction that this conversation is
This
taking.
this is flies. This is not humans. Let me be clear. The stick is about the size of a toothpick.
That seems big. I'm gonna be honest. Seems big.
There are some big flies,
I suppose that's true.
and as opposed to,
Remember when flies were like half an inch?
oh, those were the days.
That seems like that seems so quaint now.
Yeah.
In the era of football flies.
Ah, yeah, football flies. See, the toothpick is even a bit small for the football flies. For the football flies, you'd need something a little bit bigger. I don't really know what to compare
Like
the
some
size
kind
to.
of wooden dowel.
Yeah, like a
Like
dowel.
a pickle.
Like, yes, a pickle. I suppose the football flies could just use a straight up pickle.
I gotta be honest, Jake. I hate this conversation. I hate the way it's going.
So you don't want to hear my other suggestions?
I would like to hear your other suggestions, but I'm just gonna. I have my veto button at the ready
All right.
to veto.
So suggestion 2 is pink furry wiping gloves.
Okay, I'm hitting the veto button.
All right.
Okay, we're going to talk about Finding Spleeno, the musical.
All right.
again.
Back to Finding Spleeno.
This was all an elaborate setup to tell you about a deleted song in Finding Spleeno, the musical,
Oh yes.
where he enters the East Australian intestine
Mm-hmm.
and he meets with a fly who's, up there.
Yep.
Um,
doing his
and
thing.
he actually sings about his own digestive system in a song that was later incorporated to go with the flow of the digestive tract, Boys and Girls. The original lyrics were, just go and get to know about how a fly likes to wipe,
Yep.
In fact,
I think Josh will sing this.
I have the
for you.
lyrics for this one. I have the lyrics right here.
Yeah. All right.
So
It's a good
if
thing
if
you have the lyrics.
I have the lyrics, but I can't hold the lyrics and the ukulele at the same time.
I'll hold them for you.
Um, Here's the deal. I only know 4 chords on my ukulele, so the
This
song's a
seems
bit-
to be ill-advised.
I hate everything about this. Okay. So that fun fact has been canceled.
Yeah.
That fun fact has also been vetoed.
I hit my veto button for that fun fact.
Yes, thank you.
All right.
So now we've run out of vetoes, I'm afraid. We
Yep.
both used our vetoes, so now I hope we land on a good topic,
Yep.
because there's really no way to wriggle
So
my way out.
I feel like we've talked. Do you have? Let's go. Fondest memories of one of your viewings of Finding Spleeno.
Well, when I was at the tender age of 8,
Mm-hmm.
I was watching Finding Spleeno, the musical, and I didn't even know I had a spleen. Like, who grows up knowing they have a spleen?
I certainly didn't.
I certainly didn't. I mean, like, now I would because of how
Because of
central
Finding
the
Spleeno.
Finding Spleeno, and of course how central the spleen is to day-to-day life nowadays.
Yeah.
But I didn't know I had a spleen, and then when I was watching this musical, I felt like a sharp pain in my spleen, and I looked down, and it was just like my little buddy, and I really got like closer to my spleen that day
Oh yeah.
because I feel like we really made a connection.
Oh, I mean that's
Like-
that's the whole point of Finding Spleeno is the
These
man
gastric
making
love
his-
juices are like oozing from my spleen,
Exactly.
and they're making me feel such a connection. I hate how that
Why
came
did
out.
you say gastric love juices?
I mean, like all these wonderful like endorphins
yeah, that's better.
came out, just digested out of my spleen, and made me feel a real sense of camaraderie. That's all I'm saying.
Yes. No. Because I think every little boy who watched Finding Spleeno felt that way because, it's a whole story of connecting, finding your inner self, and finding your inner spleen.
Yeah.
Of course, there is the outer spleen.
The outer spleen.
We don't really care about the outer spleen.
We don't really talk about the outer spleen.
It's all about the inner spleen.
Yes.
All right, now is the time for the sponsored segment.
Wow.
Aren't I great at segues?
That was a wonderful
transition.
Segue. Yes, and I have good news. We have no spleen-related sponsors.
No spleen-related sponsors.
In fact, the entire other half of this episode, we're not going to talk
We're
about
not going
spleens
to talk
at
about
all.
spleens once.
That's really incredible.
That's not on
We're
the
going to come up
notes.
with a whole new topic. We have a whole new topic in our notes.
Yep, we definitely have that.
And here we go. Here's our first sponsor.
Wait, who's reading out the sponsorship? You or me?
I'm going to read out the first sponsor.
All right, go
And,
for it.
I lost my notes, but I'm just going to...
Yeah,
here they are. Yes,
fine,
for sure
fine.
I have my
There,
notes.
right here.
Do you want a lamp? That's great, champ. Wait, are you a moth? I bet you're a moth. 1-800-MOTH. The moths are among us. They're spreading like a fungus. Your elected officials may be moths. Call 1-800-MOTHS. And that is, of course, to promote the new Moth hotline, because, the Mothmen are a real problem, because aside from a certain dustiness and attraction towards lamps, it's really hard to tell if if people among us may be moths.
Maybe Mothmen. Yeah.
And we certainly don't want to give in to the nefarious moth agenda.
Yep. So,
Imagine, children in schools just eating, moth pellets and, just battering around the nearest lamp.
That's just... Yeah, so if you
That's
see any
savage.
moth activity in your neighborhood, please call 1-800-MOTHS.
Call 1-800-MOTHS.
It's very important.
Did I say moths or lamp?
It's 1-800-MOTHS.
Ah, yes.
Because it's the moth hotline.
That's yes. So just constant vigilance. That's what we always say on this show.
We've said it every episode. Constant vigilance.
You could be a moth. How would you know?
Yep.
I mean, do you like having the lights on? That's moth behavior.
That's epic moth behavior.
That's epic moth behavior.
And if anyone likes having the lights on, keep an eye on them because they could be a moth.
Do you have 6 legs? I mean, probably not. But
Well,
that
I mean,
would be a
some
giveaway
people do.
if you did. I mean, it could just be
6-leggedness.
It could just be 6-legged syndrome, which does affect 30% of the population.
30% of the population.
But most people don't keep all 6 legs throughout their life.
No, you usually molt them by the time you're
molt them,
35.
and there are the accidents.
Yep.
And the leg poachers.
Oh. My mother was a leg poacher.
Your mother was a leg poacher?
My mother was a leg poacher.
I never knew this.
Yeah, she would... It's really messed up because you shouldn't take advantage of those who have disabilities. But she'd convince all the 6-legged people that she was their friend and have them come over for parties and then lock them in the basement until their legs molted, and then she'd take the legs and sell them.
I gotta say, that's pretty messed up.
It is very messed up. And I didn't know what to do. I was a tender lad of 5.
That's true. What
do
it's
you
hard
do
to know.
what do you do when you're 5 and your mother's a leg poacher?
It's hard to know what to do in that scenario. But Jake, I gotta admit something. I really gotta check my privilege here, because I was born with 2 legs.
Yes.
I was born with 2 legs, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
Blood curling aside, I had 2 legs when I was a child.
Yeah.
And we went around in an 18-leg carriage.
Ooh.
So we obtained 18 legs. The Ford Motor Company grafted 18 legs onto
the carriage.
Onto our Fiat.
Yep, I grew up with a 4-legged fit.
A 4-legged fit.
Which was really weird that we only had 4 legs, even though my mother was a leg poacher. We had ample access to legs, but in the end she said, hey, your carriage only needs 4 legs.
That's true. Never got high on your own leg supply.
Yep, that was her motto.
But you could like hear us like scampering down the street. They called me Scamper Boy at school, which was kind of a little bit hurtful.
Yeah, I mean at school they called me Dave.
That's weird.
It is weird.
That's not
my
your
name. Is Jake.
Your name's Jake.
But they called me Dave.
Did they just mishear you?
It's possible.
I don't really understand that.
I don't either. Kids are strange. They have weird sayings. They just say, "Hey, Dave," and I said, "My name's Jake," and they said, "No, it's not. It's Dave," and it just kind of stuck.
Yeah. Okay.
One day we'll get my school bullies on, and we'll see.
We'll ask them why they called you
Dave.
Because I'm really invested in this mystery now.
I have yet to know, so I would love to know that. Yeah.
But hey, Jake, it's still the sponsor segment.
It is
and
still
we
the
have
sponsor
another
segment.
sponsor.
We have second sponsor.
So just read the copy.
Hey, do you like to drive? Everybody really needs to learn how to drive a leg carriage, leg carriage, leg carriage, leg carriage. Call us now to enroll your child in our new driving school. So yeah, we got the one and only leg carriage driving school to sponsor this segment.
That was possibly our most straightforward
It's very straight.
jingle.
All they want is they want to get the information out and get it out fast.
I like that. Just in your face.
In your face. Hey, we got a new driving school. Everyone needs to learn how to drive. We'll teach you. And so if you go onto their website, if you crawl up on the giant spider web and find the leg carriage driver's training page, you pull that down and you add in the offer code DisneyAD, you'll be able to get your first day of driver's ed free.
Yeah. Whenever I go on the website, I'm really struck by the amount of moth people that are stuck there.
Yeah. The spider women really like to eat the moth people, which in the past was pretty good for like population control of moth people, but they've just exploded. They've stopped flying into the big spider web.
Live and learn.
Exactly.
I went to leg carriage school, and I did pretty well in the written, but I totally failed the driving test because my instructor was a moth person, and whenever there were headlights coming at us, he would just tell us, just go in the headlights. Just go in the headlights.
You see, I didn't pass my first one either. Because I didn't run over enough pedestrians.
That's true. Yeah, you didn't get all...
I didn't get all 15 of my pedestrians.
All 15?
I got 12 of them.
Ooh, a spare.
Yeah.
Well, not even a spare.
Yeah, a spare implies you get all of them.
A spare implies you get all of them eventually. If you retake it and you get the final 3, that'd be a spare.
Yeah, that would have been a spare, but I failed, and then my mother was like, well, you didn't make it first time. I guess driving's not for you.
Tough but fair.
Yeah.
Tough but fair. She knew what it was all about. She was a leg poacher.
Yep.
She's in
leg poacher's got to know things.
Leg poacher has seen things that you wouldn't believe.
Oh yeah, you wouldn't.
That's what my motto is. It doesn't come up a lot.
It doesn't.
But it came up now.
That was the first time it's come up, and I'm very impressed that that's been your lifelong motto.
I knew this day would come.
Yeah. All right, so now we're here. Here we are in the second half of the podcast.
Yes.
We've left the sponsor segment.
Yes, the spleen-free half of the podcast.
Yes, this is the spleen-free half.
This
part that we're saying right now is the last mention of spleens that will ever be in this episode.
Absolutely.
So get your spleens out now.
Get your spleens out. Just flip out your spleens.
Flip it out and just
shove some saltines in there.
Look at that.
And just get satiated for the next half of this episode, which will be entirely spleen-free.
Spleen-free.
Except for how we're explaining that it will be spleen-free.
Exactly.
So.
Of course, in the second half of this episode. We are going to talk about an oldie but a goodie.
Absolutely.
And that is the Brainstormer roller coaster.
The Brainstormer roller coaster.
Everybody loves the Brainstormer roller coaster. The roller coaster where you sit in a car and one lucky volunteer gets to sit on the tracks and the car smashes straight into their brain.
You know, not terribly subtle, but effective. Just like that last ad.
Exactly. The ads mirror the halves of the episode. Yeah. The first half of the episode was all about that which will be unnamed from here on out.
This is a very internal organ-centric episode.
Very, like, it went off on a tangent, just like the 1-800-MOTHS ad. But the leg carriage driving school, straight to the point, just as so the Brainstormer is straight to the point.
That's true. Brainstormer is straight to the point, but I'm afraid you have kind of misled the audience a bit because you didn't say the main point of the Brainstormer roller coaster, which is not only would the one volunteer be laid out on the tracks, but there'd be a different track with 6 other volunteers.
Yes.
And you would have to, the person in front of the roller coaster, in the split second they're coming up on the turn, has to decide whether they're going to pull the lever to see how many brains they can squish.
Yep.
Maximize the amount of brains you squish.
Yep. But the thing is, it's a really quick, the lever, like, you get there, you have a split second to hit it. So a lot of people miss the lever and they only get to run over one brain, which really kind of dampers the experience for the people in the back. But, that's just keeps people in the parks longer. They'll go back to the ride. They're like, maybe this time either I'll be in the front or the person in the front will hit the lever fast enough to hit the 6 brains. I've only ever hit the 6 brains once, but my goodness, is it a beautiful feeling.
It's a beautiful feeling. And I got a secret, Jake.
Yeah.
On the leaderboard of most brains smashed that you see when you're in the queue?
Yeah.
JMB, well, I have to admit, that's yours truly.
Oh.
Because
you've squished 647,000 brains?
Well, you see, I have discovered the secret, which is when you're coming up on that first turn, if you take the lever and go up, up, down, down, left, right, BA, start. No one else seemed to figure out what those buttons were for, but you can actually multi-track drift. You can get on both tracks.
And not
only will you hit all 7, but generally the back of the cart will spin around wildly and you'll get everyone else in the roller coaster as well.
Wow.
So
I'm really glad I haven't ridden behind you.
Yes, this podcast would never have happened.
This podcast would have been much shorter.
So yeah, I'm on the leaderboard right now. I haven't been to the park in a couple months, so conceivably someone could have knocked me off the leaderboard.
Someone could have knocked her off. But the parks have been closed for a bit.
They have been closed for a bit.
Yeah, they had to fumigate them for moth people.
They had to fumigate for moth people. That's the only reason the parks were closed.
Yep. It was... But, they just took it. They got everywhere,
Yeah. You can never know who's a moth person.
Yep.
I've said it before. I'll say it again.
Yeah,
you got to take precautionary measures.
Against the moth people.
Got to stay 6 feet away from a moth person unless they see, like, a glint of sunlight reflecting on, like, your watch or something.
If they see you, they'll
bite it off.
Bite it right off, and they'll just
hate
kind
to
of
see
follow
it.
you around and wait for more light sources.
We've all seen it.
I've seen it, yeah.
Don't want that to happen to you.
Yep. So, yes. But, as we're a Disney history podcast, we should talk more about the history of the Brainstormer.
History of the Brainstormer. Was it always the Brainstormer? You may be interested to know that it was not always the Brainstormer.
It wasn't.
No. It used to be the Drainstormer. Wherein you would, you'd have to plunge. Instead of the big plunge you take at the end of the Brainstormer, you would be role playing as a plumber, and you would have to plunge the drain of, like drain blockage.
The drain of drain blockage.
You'd have to plunge the drain out of the stuff that was blocking the drain.
Of course.
Like hair and gunk
and all that stuff.
All that. And
I can see why it was replaced by the Brainstormer.
Well, it
just
wasn't
based off
originally
of
an
its
attraction. It was a training tool for cast members
description.
who would have to like unplug like the toilets.
Yeah. Oh no. Yes. But I mean, I think I can see like the envisioning of the higher ups. They're like, well, we have this ginormous training tool that's really big. It takes up a lot of room, and we don't need such a big thing to train the cast members. So what if we just put people on the tracks?
Yeah. I mean, there was a brief period where they opened the ride as is, and it was going to be like the Last Starfighter, you know, like whoever's the best at the Brainstormer can take their place, you know, unclogging drains in the actual Disney World park. And you know, like once you're a employee at Disney World Park, you're like a full citizen.
Yeah.
And you get to like own
One
land
day
and
we
vote.
will be full citizens.
One day they'll notice us.
We've been making this podcast for so long.
Bob Iger.
Bob.
We've been making this podcast for so long. If you count the long
If you count the
interval
long gap,
where
we've been
in
making
between-
this podcast for a really long time, Bob.
Yes.
Notice us, Bob.
Notice us, Bob.
You know, I've been doing my daily sacrifices to try to get Bob to notice us, but he's just not as... He doesn't interact with the public as much as Walt.
Yeah. I mean, Walt's been dead for years, but he still interacts with the
He's
public. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
His influence lasts the ages.
His influence and also the hauntings. Both.
All I've wanted was to get a haunting from Walt, but he doesn't. No one affiliated with Disney has ever haunted me.
You know, you say you want the hauntings, and I believe that you want the hauntings. Once you get the hauntings, I had one big haunting.
Ooh.
I could not unplug my sinuses
Ah.
for a month.
Please describe this haunting in detail.
Well, I mean,
You're clearly traumatized. Maybe you don't want to.
all I remember is ectoplasm and my nose. I've blocked out most of it.
Man, I'm jealous.
Sometimes I take a big sneeze and some ectoplasm still comes out. That's how deep they got it.
Wow. How long ago was the haunting?
I was 5.
Wow, very long ago.
I have deep sinuses.
You must have.
And they were filled to the brim.
Yeah. Maybe I don't want a haunting then. So
That's
my
what I'm saying,
mild
my
hauntings
dude.
have been fine, but they're just not Disney related, you know?
Like Universal hauntings?
Yeah, I've been getting Universal, they should just really stop trying, honestly. Universal hauntings are like a ghost shows up, and then they just kind of like hang out and drink all your old fashions.
you just have old fashions lying around?
Yeah, I make them in bulk, and then I save them for later.
That's very weird. Okay.
And then the Universal Ghost comes along, and he just drinks them all, and I gotta start over. Like, all the Universal Ghosts do is drink your drinks.
Yeah, the unquiet dead of Universal Studios should really just kind of
Quiet down. They need to either step up their game or just leave us alone.
Step up or step off.
Exactly.
Am I right? My contact lens fell out.
Oh no.
Yes. This may be a horrible horror escape, but we still do have contact lenses, and I still do prefer them to my regular glasses.
Yep, no, same.
All right, we're back in business.
Back in business, just in time for our new segment, Check In with the ESP Babies.
Yes, we've been talking about this segment. I'm very excited.
Very excited. This segment, because, you know, the ESP Babies, they let you listen to your podcasts and radio shows and stuff, but do we really know them? What makes an ESP baby tick? And Josh and I have been doing lots of research with our own personal ESP babies, and we're really excited to tell you our findings now.
Yes. What was most? I didn't know if this would happen when I first received my ESP baby when it appeared, and I started tweaking his toes and jacked into the sports channel, but it's been growing. It's reached ESP toddlerhood right now.
Yes, mine has as well.
In fact, much of the reason we couldn't record was not only the swarms of crows, but just ESP tantrums that really just kind of caused a whole network blackout for a while.
I had my baby was tantruming for so long. I had a network blackout for 2 months. I missed the presidential Thunderdome. It was really unfortunate because I was really looking forward to it.
Yes, in which the nation's 2 most elderly men are put in a Thunderdome.
It's the sporting event of the century.
It was the sporting and political event of the century.
I gotta wait 50 more years.
It's been a very long time to call who won. They pretty much both seemed confused.
Yeah. I mean, I caught a rerun later, but it's just not the same when you're not watching it live, you know?
Yeah.
Something that I found in my ESP baby research, which I was... So tweaking the toes, you know, it lets you change the channel. But did you know, well, while you're on a specific channel, if you tweak the ears or the nose, it actually lets you save a preset.
Save a preset?
Yeah, so I have right now, I've got the ears set to the sports channel, and I have the nose set to my favorite podcast besides ours, How to Sing Like Celine Dion.
How to Sing Like Celine Dion? Have you been listening to How to Sing Like Celine Dion?
It's a really good podcast.
It's been recommended to me. Have you been learning how to sing like Celine Dion?
I have not. I'm very bad at
it. You didn't pick up any tips?
I haven't picked up many. I mean, the only tip I've picked up is a lot of like...
Are you saying you couldn't sing our national anthem like Celine Dion right now? If I start playing the national anthem, you would not be able to sing it like Celine Dion.
You know the national anthem on the uke?
I know our national anthem. Don't you?
Of course I know our national anthem.
I was really excited for you to sing, but then Celine Dion came by the studio and just did it.
I know. I was all set and ready.
I guess you're off the hook, Jake.
Yeah, I'm really good because I could never do it as well as Celine Dion.
Celine Dion, why don't you come in the studio a second?
Okay.
Celine.
Hello, I'm Celine Dion.
Hello, I'm excited to meet you. Jake, aren't you excited to...
Oh, I'm very excited. This
is unprecedented. We have an actual celebrity on our show. This is going to get us on Bob Iger's radar for sure.
Yes, I know him personally.
You know him personally?
Yes.
Well, Celine, would you mind if we ask you a few questions?
Of course.
So, I hear you're going to be the star of the new Pixar film.
Yes. Outside In.
Outside In, yes.
Yes, it's the story of a man who lives with his wife, and he just wants to climb into her mouth. I'm very excited for that film.
I'm also very excited for that film.
Yes, I play the man because it's 2020.
Unconventional, but I support it.
We are in the modern times. We get with the times, people.
Yes, wow. Celine Dion, might I just say how Celine Dion-y you are.
Oh, I thank you. I did coin the term Celine Dion because more things should be like me.
I every day I wake up and I hope I become Celine Dion, and that's only happened once.
How was that day?
That was, it was a bit surreal. Honestly, I was a bit relieved the next day.
I don't think I could ever handle being Celine Dion. I mean, can you imagine me as Celine Dion? I couldn't imagine you as Celine Dion on any day. No.
So yeah, I have been writing extensive letters to the Pixar studios petitioning for this kind of film to be made outside in.
Yes.
So I don't want to claim credit, but I was a big fan of this idea.
It is a very good idea. I'm surprised people haven't come up with it before.
Yeah,
I mean,
sure.
it's groundbreaking.
Outside
a
in.
man climbing inside of his wife's mouth. I mean, he just rips his way in there. She's just...
love it.
It is the goriest Pixar film to date.
You know, sometimes you can't back down. You just gotta just face those obstacles, like you being bigger than a mouth.
Just get right in there.
To face that head on, and that's really inspiring. That's what gets me up every day, just thinking about,
one day you might be able to climb into a mouth.
If Celine Dion can climb into someone's mouth, even though she is the size of a person, then so can I.
I've taken that advice to heart. I've been doing my training. I have a hole in the wall that's mouth sized, and every morning I try to get in there. Hasn't worked yet.
Hasn't worked yet?
You'll get there one day.
Celine Dion.
Yes.
You just nothing. For a moment I thought that maybe I had a conspiracy theory where maybe you were also like the Queen of England, and for a moment I thought that
Who
was
told you?
No one.
Nothing.
Nothing.
What? What are you talking about? No.
Your secret's safe with me.
Good. Keep it that way.
Queen Dion.
Yes, that's right. I'm the Queen of England. But don't tell anybody.
We won't. We'll definitely remember to edit this
Nobody tell them that I'm the Queen of England. Oh, I won't tell a soul. You better not. I won't.
All right. So
I will be going now. I
think that's about the end of the podcast. But Celine Dion, could you stay for one more minute to sing an outro?
Of course. Yes, the crow clouds are coming in, and let's go.
The crow clouds are coming in, so just...
Whenever
you're ready, Celine.
When the crows come in, you can't do any more podcasts because you'll lose the signal. You can't listen to your podcast because the babies, they start crying. Can't do the podcast anymore. Big fan of the show.